put on a different body signals workshop. And what we mean by body signals is we pick a common symptom, a common topic. Vince, could you actually close that door so we don't have the draft coming in, please? So this month we're focusing on boosting your immune system, because this is coming off the holiday season. Who was at my last workshop? You two were. You were there. Yeah, we had a lot of you guys. We had a lot of repeat offenders here, which is awesome. So what did we talk about at that last workshop? Stress in the holidays, right? Recovering from that holiday hangover. Do you guys remember that graph we showed you? What was that graph all about? The very, it was like the first slide I think I had on there. You guys remember that one? Just gauging how much you retain. So that was, remember that thing that had that giant peak of cardiovascular deaths? And when it happens? Right around between Christmas and New Year. So that's one of the most stressful times of the year. And then when does flu season hit? Typically around this time of the year, right after the holidays. So that's why we do this workshop. And because it's Valentine's Day and this is the month of chocolate, we decided we're going to put a chocolate twist on anything. And we're going to explain why dark chocolate is actually beneficial to your health. So we'll get right into it. I do a lot of these workshops. I find I get a little bit more out of them when I know a little bit something about the person that's talking to me. And I know some of you have already heard this story before, but the reason I'm here today in front of you all is the result of something that happened over 16 years ago now. At the time I was a full-time student. I was working at McDonald's, pretty much 40 hours a week, assistant manager. I was commuting to Marquette from Escanaba 5 days a week, going to school, full-time student. And like a lot of people, I had pain in my back. It was up here in my upper back. It was I could deal with it. I had it every day, but it was normal, my normal pain. And then came the morning, I couldn't get out of bed. I was literally in tears, could not get out of bed. Managed to get to my phone on my nightstand, and who do you think I called?
Mom.
Yeah, you guys have heard this story. So I called Mom. Some people say chiropractor. I had never seen chiropractor at that point. Mom took me to the ER. The ER doctor said, you strained some muscles, here's some Flexerol, here's some Vicodin, you'll be fine. I took their drugs. It made me feel better. I was a little doped up and loopy for that week, but by the end of the week, the drugs were gone and my pain was back. But it was worse. And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm 20 years old, this sucks. I hurt, and I don't know what to do about this. That's when we started looking into a different kind of doctor. We found Dr. Brian, he's a chiropractor, and he did a very thorough exam like we do here in this office. He showed me how I have a scoliosis. My spine should be straight up and down, kicks off to the side, right up where I have a lot of my pain. And he said, look, I'm not going to make this perfect, but we can make this a lot better. And he gave me my first adjustment. And it was like a light switch. I felt like $1 million. And who knows how that story concluded. For about 3 hours, right? And then I got pretty sore, and I was like, a train hit me, and I was like, what the heck? But he had warned me, hey, you might get sore after this. If you can get some ice on it, we'll get you back tomorrow. We're going to check this again. You're going to do great. And I'm glad I listened to him, because I kept seeing him, and I kept following his recommendations. And by the end of it, I was not only was the pain in my back better, I was sleeping better. I had more energy. Just the quality of my life was a lot better. And I was at a big transition in my life. I'd been going to school for a long time. I changed my major about 20 times at that point. My dad was calling me the professional college student. And I decided right then and there, I'm like, I think I want to do this. And I started talking to Dr. Brian about becoming a chiropractor. He got really excited about it. He started giving me good ideas of schools to look at and things, all the things to consider, and decided to change my major one final time. And I'll never forget the day I went home and told Mom and Dad that, because I had all like arts and sciences and languages under my belt at that point. No pre-med, no science, no math or anything like that. And go home and I said, hey, I think I want to be a chiropractor. And my dad just gets up and walks out of the house to the garage. And Mom's like, how much school is that going to be? And it's like, probably another 8 to 9 years. And she's like, oh, God. But it gave me my life back. I wanted to share that with the rest of the world. So that's ultimately why I'm here today. And today we're going to be talking about health. And I know some, if not all of you, have seen some version of this diagram before. Who's seen this before? Raise your hands. Okay. What is this thing? The health continuum, right? So we're all on here at some point. You can see over here, this is the bad stuff. This is where we don't want to be. This is, I got problems, I got symptoms, I got disability. I'm hopefully dead over here. This is all the good stuff. This is where everybody wants to be, wellness. We're all on here somewhere. We're all moving on this spectrum somewhere. We're never static on this spectrum. We're always making decisions that are either going to push us this way or this way. When do you think I meet most people when they come to the office the first time? They're over here. And it's not usually here. This is like, I have something wrong, but I don't really have really pain or anything yet. Maybe I have a little stiffness turning my head or something like that. I don't usually see them here. What do people usually do when they're here? Got a little stiffness in my neck. Yeah, take that ibuprofen or something like that. I feel better, I medicate it. I get rid of the sign, the way my body's trying to tell me, hey, something's not quite right in there. And then the problem slowly gets worse. If we don't fix it, we get into the symptoms. That's where I typically meet people. Now they're having deficits. Now they have things that they can't do as well. Their body's in crisis and they can't adapt to that stress anymore. If we let it go for too long, then they start to have disability. They're really not able to do things. If we let it go too long beyond that, to me, that's premature death. So everything we're doing is all about trying to arm us with the knowledge and the tools we need to stop moving that way and start moving this way. And who here knows physics of momentum? What are the components of momentum? Anybody? Mass and velocity. So we're all moving, okay? So we're making decisions. That's going to keep us moving. Say I'm making a lot of poor health decisions, and it's pushing me this way. It's like you have that snowball that starts at the top of the hill and starts going downhill. What happens by the time it's at the bottom of the hill? It's a lot bigger, right? It's a bigger problem. So I'm making a lot of decisions that are snowballing and getting out of control. They're getting bigger and bigger and bigger until I've got a lot of problems. But the opposite is true too. The more I'm making decisions to push myself that way, and the longer I do that, we're going to talk about it in a minute. We call it compounding health. It's a compounding interest. We do things to push us this way, and we want to create the momentum going that way. So body signals, they're symptoms. It's your body's way of trying to talk to you. And the whole point of these workshops is trying to train you guys to be more in tune with listening to what your body's trying to say to you. Because it's trying to give you some messages with the pains we have, with the loss of motion that we have, with the things that we experience that typically we try to ignore until we can't ignore anymore, and then we try to seek help for. So, symptoms. Who here remembers this diagram? What's the symptom?
Pain?
Yeah, there's a little bit of ice sticking out of the top of the water. How much of the nervous system is responsible for pain?
The ending.
How much? 6 to 8%. Who said that? Nice. Very good. No one ever gets it right. That's great. That's awesome. So 6 to 8% of your nerves control pain. Think of that. This is a nerve, a cross-section of a big old nerve. Can you guys see it? That part tells me it hurts. Can you see how I can compress, I can irritate, I can inflame, I can tick that nerve off, but if I don't light up those fibers there, the ones that tell me, hey, it hurts, I don't feel it as pain. But these parts, they control everything else. The motion, the fact that my lungs are breathing and my heart is beating, all that stuff works without us having to think about it. That's that other part. It's not important because it doesn't tell us, hey, it hurts. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to look at the whole picture. And ultimately, we're trying to get to this. Because what's the problem? Is the problem that little bit of ice sticking on the top of the water? Or is that looming mass of ice below the water that's going to sink your boat? That's the problem. And in fact, I could chisel that thing off. Just take it off. Take the whole cap off. Nothing peeking up the top. Cover up the pain. What's still left? Yeah, the problem. Now what happens when I come back 6 months later? What do I see? Yeah, the problem's bigger and it's sticking back up the top. The pain's back. So we want to get rid of the iceberg. We don't want to just treat the tip of the iceberg because we want a boat to sail through it, okay? So the big thoughts. Sickness is a part of health. Who here thinks that I'm getting sick? Who has ever said that? I'm getting sick. Everybody here, come on. Everybody, right? We've all said it, right? I want to try to change your mindset on it today. I don't want you to think I'm getting sick. I want you to think I'm doing sick. So think about that. What does that mean? I'm making decisions. Those decisions are either healthy decisions or they're unhealthy decisions. If I keep making unhealthy decisions, what can I expect? Yeah, not to be healthy. And if I'm not healthy, I tend to get sick more. If I keep making healthy decisions, what can I expect? Health, right? Yeah. So if I'm doing healthy, if I'm making healthy decisions, doing healthy, versus making unhealthy decisions, just doing sick, do you guys get what I'm getting at? Does that make sense? Think of it as like a car battery. Think about all the things your cars do, especially cars these days. All the electronics and computers and everything, they all draw off that battery. Imagine what would happen if that battery wasn't supplying certain parts of your car. Like maybe something convenient, like your cruise control. You can still function with cruise control, right? It might not be the most convenient thing in the world, but we can still get by. Well, maybe now my heater's out. Okay, maybe this time of year that's not so fun. Well, maybe now my windows don't roll down. Now my AC's not working anymore. Now my power seats aren't working anymore. Now my power steering's not working anymore. That's getting a lot. Has anybody ever driven a car without power steering?
Yes.
That's like wrestling a bull, right? It's not easy. Next, maybe my blinkers stop working, my lights stop working. Now I'm a hazard on the road. So you see how if we start to cut off the supply power, the whole machine doesn't work. So what do you guys think is your car battery if we apply that analogy to our bodies? What powers everything in your body?
My heart.
Your nervous system. Yeah. Your heart's really important. But my heart could stop beating right now. If one of you knows CPR, you could come and pump on my chest, and breathe some breaths in my mouth, and if we get that thing pumping again before my brain dies, I'm alive. If my brain says, okay, I'm done, that's it. We're done. Okay? So start thinking like that. You don't get sick, you do sick. So I want you to think of your health like a bonfire. If we have a fire, we have three essential components, right? We have the fuel source, the wood. We need air, oxygen. We have the spark. So the fuel is what we eat, what we put into our bodies. Does that make sense? That's pretty straightforward, right? I want you to, the air is how we move. Maybe it's a little bit more of a stretch, but moving is important, right? We can all agree. It's probably beneficial that we don't sit on our butts all day long. The spark is how you think. What are the three types of stress?
Mental. Physical.
One more. That's part of mental. That's good though, yeah. Chemical. So what would be the chemical stress here? Potentially the food we're eating, right?
Preservatives.
Yeah, preservatives, all that kind of stuff. Lots of sugar, refined flour, all that garbage. Air, how we move. The exercise I'm getting. Am I sitting on my butt all day long eating potato chips? Or am I getting up and trying to get some quality exercise every day? 15 minutes, half hour a day, getting myself into a sweat, getting my heart rate up, getting myself sweating, panting and breathing heavy. Spark, how we think. First stress that was mentioned when I asked what are three stresses was emotional, right? That's really the triple whammy of them all, because it creates physical responses in the body, it creates emotional or mental stress, it creates chemical responses in the body, it brings everything else along for the ride. So mindset is a huge, huge part of being healthy. So it's compound health. Who here has ever heard of compound interest? You invest something, you have that money that's sitting there, and their interest is growing on interest, and over time you have this money just growing up, growing up, growing up, growing up. Start thinking about it like your health. If I'm investing in good, healthy things, and I keep investing in good, healthy things, what's the result of that? Do they just add up like 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1? Or do they start to multiply up? So now it's 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, but now it's times 2. Now it's times 4. Or maybe we do it to the power of 2, or the power of 4. We start doing exponents and things like that. The more decisions we're making that are healthy, and the more we do it, the better off our health is not only now, but we start creating that healthy momentum pushing us to the healthy side of the spectrum. But unfortunately, the same is true for the opposite. If I keep doing very unhealthy things, and I'm constantly making unhealthy investments in myself, what's my result there? We're starting that snowball downhill till we had a big problem, and now we're going to that side of the spectrum. So we're going to try to be very, very pragmatic as we're going through. Simple things. What do we need to do? What do we need to stop doing? What do we need to slow down doing, try to modify? So food, fuel, how we eat, required nutrients. We have what the nutrients that we need, okay? Things like your proteins, your fats, your essential minerals and vitamins. We need to make sure we're getting them. It's best to get them through whole food sources. And really, the closer it is to growing out of the ground or being harvested from a field or something like that, the better it is for us. The more we remove it from that, where you had mentioned preservatives and things like that, to where it's that convenient TV dinner that can pop in the microwave for 6 minutes or however long it takes, and then I got some nutrient void piece of garbage that I'm going to feed my body with. We lose so much when we remove it from the natural source of things. So the toxic food burden, if we're constantly putting these toxic things, we're making that compound interest investment for the negative. So eating correct. You can eat unlimited vegetables. If it's a vegetable and you want to eat it, I'm okay with that. Because I'm not too worried about people ODing on vegetables. Lots of lean, natural meats. Ideally, you want like your organic, grass-fed type meats, not a lot of GMO or preservatives or antibiotics and all those things that affect the nutritional quality and how it affects our body. We want some fruits, we want some nuts, we want some seeds, things like fruits and stuff you got to be careful with. I'm not going to say unlimited fruits because there's a lot of sugar in fruits. And your body processes that sugar in the same way a lot of the times. And then we have no starch, no sugar. They pretty much don't do anything good for us. What does sugar promote?
Cancer.
Cancer, inflammation. That's the first thing, okay? Chronic inflammation, what does that lead to? Cancer. So that's why we want to start digging some of these things out. So, has anybody seen the dinner plate model? Do you guys remember the food pyramid from once upon a time? They used to recommend the food pyramid. They don't really recommend that anymore, do they? Because they realized that food pyramid where everything on the bottom, what was the bottom thing of the food pyramid? Do you guys remember?
Pastas
And grains and those refined wheats and all that stuff. Now they're saying fruits and veggies should be the number one thing. Your proteins. So look at it like the dinner plate. If this is your dinner plate, these should be roughly the proportions that you have. That much of the plate should be filled up with the fruits and the greens, or the veggies. Ideally greens and multicolored veggies. Smaller amounts of fats, good sources of protein. Okay? What don't we see on here? What was it? Pick a tippy top of the pyramid. Sugar, the sweets, the candies, things like that. So do non-starchy vegetables, some fruit, meat and poultry, range-fed eggs, natural fats, nuts and seeds. Drink lots and lots of water. Don't. Your refined carbs, cereals and grains, your artificial sweeteners, sugar in general, soda, juice, fruit juices. Fruit juices, I had this conversation with somebody earlier today. They say, well, we don't drink a lot of pop in our house. We drink a lot of juice. Does anybody ever look at how much sugar is in juice? Just about as much as soda. Now, there might be a few more vitamins and stuff in the juice, but it's not really any better for you than drinking soda. You're getting so much sugar with it. Things like dairy products. So this is an interesting one. Who here has been growing up thinking that dairy is really good for you? And there are some good things in dairy, but it does create, it's pro-inflammatory. Has anybody ever had like some ice cream or milk or something like that, and you're a lot more mucusy and snotty or something like that? Same thing with like alcohol. And I was just talking to Heather about this earlier today. Like, I like craft beer, and I'll often have a craft beer at night before I go to bed or something like that. But I do notice if I have like a wheat beer or something like that, I'm a lot more congested because my body's dealing with some of those toxins and it's creating responses in my body. So, I said no sugar, no sweets, but yet we have a chocolate workshop. That's a little counterintuitive, right? In fact, we were talking to one of our coaches about this workshop, and we were talking about the improve your immune system, and I said, we're putting a chocolate twist on it. And he said, Eric, what are you doing? You're talking about improving their immune system, and you're going to pump them full of sugar? And I said, no, it's dark chocolate. Because dark chocolate has very low sugar. Not all chocolate is created equal. So the cocoa plant, the cacao plant, however you say that word, the higher the percentage of it, the better. So dark chocolates have a lot of cocoa, very little sugar. Milk chocolate has the exact opposite. Lots of sugar, lots of dairy, very little cocoa. White chocolate. Is it really chocolate? There's no cocoa in it. It's all sugar. It's a confection nightmare. Okay, so don't be fooled by it. So chocolate is actually very healthy for you. Dense dark chocolate, 11 grams of fiber in a 100-gram bar of chocolate. That's 70-80% cocoa. 67% of our iron requirement, 58% of our magnesium, 89% of our copper, 98% of our manganese, potassium, phosphorus, zinc, a lot of the minerals that we need, you can find them in chocolate. It's good for your heart. It's got a lot of antioxidants. What do antioxidants help prevent? Cancer, yeah. Lowers inflammation. What does inflammation produce? Chronic inflammation leads to?
Cancer.
There we go. Lowers your blood pressure. What if my blood pressure is always elevated? What does that do to my body? What does it do to my heart?
Makes it work harder.
Exactly. It's working harder to overcome that resistance in the piping than the plumbing. So it's working harder.
And
It's
to do
fatiguing
more
earlier.
reps.
Exactly. Because it's like a muscle. If I sit there and do bicep reps all day long, 24/7, a big old bicep, right? If your heart's working overtime trying to get the blood where it needs to go, and that's always working overtime, your heart does get bigger. And some people are like, oh, I'm getting my big heart bigger and stronger. That's a good thing, right? No, it's the exact opposite of a good thing. It's going to wear it out and cause it to fail sooner. Lowers the bad cholesterol, the LDLs in the body. It helps improve blood flow. So there's intake clotting properties that'll improve blood flow. Better cardiovascular health because of better blood flow. Better brain function because of better blood flow. And there's even some studies that suggest it helps with vision because your eyes get better blood flow. So having better blood flow is a good thing. That's one reason I want you to exercise. And then we have all these things, I can't pronounce that, affects the brain and reduces clots in the brain, so reduces the risk of stroke. We have increasing insulin sensitivity, reducing the risk of diabetes. There was a study done in Sweden back in 2011. They found that women who ate 1.5 ounces of chocolate daily had 20% lower risk of stroke versus people who ate less than 9 grams or something like that.
How many ounces was that?
1.5 ounces, about 45 grams. So you look at one of those cubes, I think one of those little squares on one of those chocolates is like 2 ounces, I want to say. So you don't have to eat a lot, but there's a lot of health benefits to chocolate. There's flavonoids in there which can protect the skin from UV damage. There's theobromine, bromine, which reduces the activity of the vagus nerve, which can help calm a cough. So the vagus nerve is one of your cranial nerves. It goes all the way down. They call it the wanderer. It goes down to the diaphragm. So who's ever had that tickle where you just can't stop coughing? Chocolate can actually lower the spasticity in that vagus nerve and help reduce that cough. And it's helped reduce stress and control craving. So the survey says people who eat chocolate report less stress. There's actually a couple studies that support this kind of thing. And there's one Dutch study that I saw that they took the population. They had one group of people that was really unhealthy. They had another group of people that was equally unhealthy. They told the one group of people that, hey, you need to change your life majorly or you're going to die. They scared the crap out of them and made them start eating right, exercising regularly, all that stuff. Where the other ones, they just kind of let them do their thing. What they found over the long term of that study is the people that they were really forcing to change through like the scare tactics, and that's not conclusive for just, you might be the scare tactics and things like that, but they found that these people were having a lot more health problems, even though they were starting to do everything right, because they were so miserable. There are studies that show if we do enjoy ourselves a little bit, we're happier, we tend to be healthier, right? So having some sweets isn't a bad thing, especially if they're a good source of sweet, where it's something like dark chocolate. Boosts endorphins and serotonin levels, so the happy neurotransmitters in your brain. Reduces your cravings for sweet, salty, and fatty foods. Dr. Ron and I were just talking about this the other night. When do you guys typically crave those sweet, salty, fatty snacks?
At night.
At night. Why is that? Because we have willpower all day long. Every day we're tempted by things all day long. And then by the time I'm going to bed, I have that craving. I want that potato chip or that candy bar or something like that, because your brain's just like, it's done. It's dealt with everything all day. It's shutting down, but now it's starting to give into those cravings. So chocolate can help reduce those cravings. And like we said earlier, it's very high in fiber. Helps keep the mail moving, helps keep the feeling of fullness there, so it's just beneficial. But moderation is the key. Small amounts is up to 2.2 to 1.5 ounces a day. Make it a part of a balanced diet. So I'm not saying go hog wild and eat only chocolate, all chocolate, nothing but chocolate, okay? No milk chocolate. So it's got higher sugar, lower cocoa, and milk actually prevents the absorption of those compounds in it that help lower your LDLs, okay?
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Would almond milk be the same, or is that?
Actually, we have the recipe cards for all the snacks we and a couple more. That was a substitute that was made. Was almond milk, or I believe they allowed cashew milk or something like that.
Nut milk.
But yeah, a nut milk is going to be a better source because it's not technically dairy, okay? So, chocolate. It doesn't have that bad of a rap if you're eating the right kind of it and you're doing it in moderation as part of an overall healthy lifestyle. And supplements. So supplements, good or bad?
Yeah.
No, they're not a bad thing. Ideally, we want to be getting our nutrients from whole food sources. That would be the best way. But with the way the world is and how we've depleted a lot of soil, some of these nutrients it's really hard for us to get from whole food sources. And if you can't get it from a whole food source, it's better to get it from a supplement than not to get it at all. So the
But
thing
how
about,
do you know what supplement to trust?
that's the
How do you-
that's the thing about supplements, is they're not well regulated. So there are supplement companies out there that allow third parties to come in and inspect what they're doing. Those are the ones you trust. So you don't just go buy the cheapest one
Right.
down at the Walmart special. You buy one get one half off, or buy one get one free, because they don't regulate it. They can have like 99% kelp, 1% of what they say they're putting in it, and then a bunch of rat hair and parts that you don't want to eat in there because they don't have a clean facility. Okay? Like all the supplements we sell here, we purposely pick high quality pharmaceutical grade ones because we want to make sure if we're selling somebody a supplement or we're recommending a supplement, we're giving them a good source. Okay? We have Lindsay right here, nutritional consult specialist. She's amazing. If you guys have any dietary questions, set up consult with this lady. She'll sit down with you, need a need. She'll talk about what your concerns are, and she'll help you figure out what should you be getting. And then if we have it here, we'll get it to you. We'll get you a good source of it. If we don't carry it here, we probably can get you a good source of it. And at the very least, if we can't get it through our providers, we can send you to somebody who can get it to you. So I don't care if you're getting it here, you're getting it somewhere else. I do care that you're getting a quality source of it, though. So you're absolutely right in that sense. You got to be careful. You got to be very careful with supplements. I did hear an encouraging story on the radio the other day that the FDA is trying to regulate the supplements more, but I also know that the FDA is horribly overtaxed, underfunded, and the reality is when rubber meets the road, it's going to sound good on paper, but the reality is probably not going to be as promising. So, wellness supplements, it's all about that extra help, that extra support from the inside out, okay? There we go. So, the basic ones. Everybody should be doing these ones. Omega-3 fatty acids, fish oils, okay? Helps with inflammation, helps with brain functions, helps with cell repair. Really important one. If nothing else, I would say fish oil is probably the number one. Probiotics are also a really good one in restoring the proper gut health. Because the gut is a huge, huge, huge part of your immune system, okay? And part of our health problems are we destroy our good flora, our good bacteria in our gut with our processed sugars and flours and all of our antibiotics and all the garbage that we put into us that we're just not designed to consume day in, day out. Who here has heard of things like a leaky gut? Mm-hmm. It's a big thing today. And it's like 20 years ago, it wasn't even a thing. We didn't even know about it. But what happens is that layer between your intestine and the inside of your body, because the inside of your intestines, like the inside of my mouth, it's actually outside of my body as far as my body's concerned. Does that make sense? So it's like I have this tube. If you think inside of my mouth going down my esophagus, that's a tube. My stomach's a hollow sac. Then it goes into my intestines. It's like a bunch of tubes and stuff like that, all the way till it comes up the tailpipe. Okay? That's all a hollow inside. If I could turn myself inside out, and all the inside of my digestive tract was on the outside, does that make more sense? Did I lose you guys? I'm getting some confused looks here. Okay, so this is outside of my body, right? My skin? The same thing is true of the inner lining of my digestive tract. As far as inside of my body, you think of what's in between the skin here and the skin here. There's some muscle, there's some bone, some ligaments and tendons and stuff. That's inside my body. What's between the skin of my outer belly here and the lining of my intestinal tract? All the guts and everything in between there, right? But the inside of my intestinal lining is just like the outside of my skin as far as the inside of my body. Does that make more sense? Did I get you back with me? Okay, that's a really important concept because that lining in your intestine is one cell thick. One cell. How big is one cell? Yeah, microscopic. We need an electron microscope to see these things. A really, really powerful microscope. And if we start to damage that lining, now stuff can start to leak in between. We're starting to get these toxins getting into my body, inside my body. Now it's in my bloodstream. Now it's traveling all over. Who here has seen anyone that's really pro-inflammatory? Like they get a little scratch or something like that and it just plops up. Yeah. That's a sign that there's a lot of things your body is dealing with that it can't adapt to those little stresses anymore. A tiny insult creates a big inflammatory response. So, also whole food supplements. If we can't get it from the whole food source, we want to get it somewhere, so a whole food supplement, probably a whole food supplement. Vitamin C helps with the immune system. Vitamin D, especially this time of year in this area, we get our vitamin D from being exposed to the sun. But even to begin in a sunny day like today, with how the sun is arranged in the cosmos and the lights that come down, we don't get the direct stimulation that we're producing the optimum amount of vitamin D. So it's still a good thing to be supplementing during our winter months. During the summer, if you can get out in the sun, you'll produce enough, and maybe you can knock off it a little bit. But you want to make sure you're still getting it somehow. So do this. Colloidal silver, that helps with antibacterial stuff. So does garlic, that's also anti-inflammation. Echinacea helps with immune system. But the tricky thing about that one, has anybody ever heard you get sick, take echinacea? It's too late. You have to have echinacea in your system to keep your immune system primed. So the idea is, if you're getting sick, you have to know you're getting sick in 2 weeks, or you got to know you're doing sick. Stop doing sick by doing things like taking your echinacea when you're not expressing sick, so you don't get that spike of sickness. Things like ginger help with digestion, help with inflammation. Ginseng also helping with inflammation. So air, moving. Just like we have required nutrients for the food we put into our body, I want you to think of movement as a required nutrient for our body, okay? We gotta move. We sit down on our butts all day long, that's it. We start to lose progress, and we typically lose progress pretty quickly. We need stress reduction. So we were just talking about this upstairs. What stresses can you get rid of? So I can't get rid of that one, okay? What stresses can you modify? Okay? Yeah, so that's what we look at. Maybe we can't get rid of all the stresses, but we can start modifying some of the stresses. I can modify one stress, that's going to be a positive thing in my positive health count. I modify 2 stresses, now I got 2 positive in my health count. I get rid of a 3rd stress, now I got another big positive thing. I'm making all these healthy investments. I'm doing healthy. I'm not doing sick. And when you're recovering, if you're doing sick, that's when you need to take a break. Who here feels like working out when they're sick? Nobody, right? Why is that? Is your body smart or stupid? It's smart, right? It knows, I'm fighting something here. Don't go and get on the treadmill. Don't go and lift a bunch of weights. I'm trying to kill an invader right now. So that's what it's focusing all its energy on. So, it's a required nutrient. The exercise actually increases hormone function and absorption. It also increases blood circulation, lymph circulation, so it helps keep things moving through our systems and getting the waste products moving out of our systems. But when you're doing sick, rest, listen to your body. Timing's everything. You got to make sure you're getting lots of rest when you're actually expressing sick, okay? So, sleep. What's the recommended amount of sleep? 8 hours, yeah. Some people vary and stuff like that. I used to be a big advocate of, oh, you can get away with 6. I used to try to argue you can get away with 4. That was when I was younger, and I didn't realize I was crashing for like a whole weekend, like every couple months or something doing that. Now, as I'm getting older and I can't pull those all-nighters and stuff like that, I'm starting to realize, okay, they were right. You do need at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. But the important thing is it's consistent. So is it good for me to get my 7 to 8 hours if I go to bed at midnight tonight? I go to bed at 9 o'clock tomorrow. I go to bed at 7:30 the next day. I'm going to bed at 2:30 in the morning the next day. What am I doing to myself there? I'm completely screwing up my internal rhythm, okay? We all know Dr. Matt here, right? Pretty much everybody? We all know he wakes up at like the butt crack of dawn, before the butt crack of dawn, like he's up at 3 o'clock in the morning exercising. Whereas Dr. Eric's more of a night owl, like at 1:30 last night when he was working on his PowerPoint slide and he's finishing up and he's like, yeah, that's good. Time for bed. Look at the clock and I'm like, dang, Dr. Matt's probably waking up in like an hour getting ready to work out. And that's just how it is. He's completely opposite. We need to eat fast before we go to bed. We talked about this at the last couple workshops and several workshops. What's that mean? What's the big enemy? These things. They're screens. They create light. It stimulates our pituitary gland. It interrupts the melatonin production. Melatonin is a sleep hormone, or the neurotransmitter. It's going to tell your brain, okay, it's nighttime. I'm going to start turning down. And then the first thing in the morning, you have like the cortisol spike and the things that wake you up, where these artificial light sources stimulate that part of your brain and trick it into thinking, hey, it's nighttime. I should be awake now. I shouldn't be ramping down. I should be ramping up. Naps every day. The siesta. Think back. I used to love taking naps. I used to have a 3-hour lunch break at my old office, and I used to take at least a 20-minute nap, and it was glorious. And we have a long lunch break, but we have lots of meetings and stuff now, so I don't get my nap anymore. I miss my naps. A 20-hour nap, 15-minute, a power nap. It's huge. Yeah, and think back to that. Think back to like the caveman days. We wake up with the sun, right? we go out and we're hunting, we're gathering, we're doing stuff, but then the sun gets really high, and it's like, wow, it's really hot out here. It's not fun being out here sweating my butt off. What am I going to do? Why don't I go back to my house and take a nap? And when the sun goes down a little bit and it's a little bit more comfortable outside, then I'll go back and I'll be up and nap until the sun's down. And then it's like, okay, now it's time to ramp down, go get some food, go home, lay in bed, reproduce, all that stuff, okay? So naps every day. How you think, very, very important. If you are what you eat, you definitely are what you think. I saw, it was a Facebook post, I think, like Lindsay does our inspirational posts and stuff. I saw one on another person's thing. They were talking about someone holding a cup of coffee, someone bumped their arm, spilled all over, and they were cursing and blah, blah, blah. And the whole crux of the story is, you spilled the coffee, or you spilled whatever in the cup. If you fill your cup up with something negative, and it spills out when someone jostles you, what gets spilled out? The negativity, right? If I'm constantly filling my cup with something good, and someone jostles me and spills out, what spills out? Good stuff. Start filling your cups with good stuff. It'll come back to you. It also produces the stress hormones. That increases immune function. It creates the proper healing rhythms for your body to be functioning right. So, healthy is normal. Can we all agree to that?
Yes.
But unhealthy is a norm that has been created in our very, very unnatural society, right?
Right.
So that's something we're trying to change, and that's what these workshops are about. Your body is crazy smart. Does everybody agree? Can I get a raise of hand if you guys agree? Crazy smart. There's so many things going on in every single one of you right now. You don't have to think about it for a second. And you should be thankful for that, because it's really, really complicated stuff. Has anybody ever studied molecular biology or anything like that? It's crazy busy. I'm a doctor and I don't even understand all of it. It's crazy, crazy intelligent. And if I wasn't responsible for keeping track of all this stuff mentally, I'd be dead. Because I couldn't keep track of it all. I'm lucky if I remember what I ate for breakfast sometimes. Your nervous system controls everything in your body. Most important system in the body is the car battery, remember? You don't have the car battery, the car's not going anywhere. Your spine, it's your suit of armor. Bone is the hardest thing your body makes. It's smart, right? It wants to protect its most valuable assets. The brain's the only organ in the body, most important organ in the body, that's encased in solid bone. Your spinal cord's ring after ring after ring after ring after ring of solid bone. Your brain, your body's smart. It's known to say, this is important, I gotta protect it. What's the hardest thing I can make? My bone. I'll protect it with bone. And we got ribs and stuff like that. They protect all these vital organs. But like we just said a minute ago, my heart could stop beating. We can get started going again before my brain stops, I'm still gonna be okay. Well, maybe not okay, but I'll still be alive. Modern life is stressful, right? Raise your hand if your life is more stressful this year than last year. Raise both hands if you think it's going to be more stressful next year than this year. It's getting more stressful. More and more and more. Does anybody remember, who did I just do some exams on lately? Right through here. What's this area? Help me out. Adrenals. What do the adrenals do for us? It's a fight or flight, right? I'm being attacked by a bear. I want that adrenaline so I can either run away or fight that bear until it dies or I die. Okay? I'm stressed out about a workshop that I got to do today. Last night at 12 o'clock, and I'm sitting there playing on my phone, and it's like, yeah, you got to do this thing, PowerPoint presentation, get it done. I was stressed. My body responds to that stress the same way as it responds to that bear attack. And if I have constant stress in my life, and I'm always in that heightened state of stress, what happens?
Just stay sit.
Yeah, your body breaks down. We got a whole slide on it, just a second, right here. Right here, perfect segue. Increases your blood pressure. Why? Increases your heart rate. Why?
You get excited. You're always.
Think about it. I'm about to fight a bear.
Yeah, you're
What do I
always
want?
fight or flight.
I want my arms to be strong. I want my legs to be strong, right? So they need lots of blood. They need that circulation going. So that's why it's increasing that. Muscle tone. Increasing your muscle tone. Again, want to be able to fight that bear. Digestion's upset. Decreased serotonin. Sensory systems are up. Fear and anxiety. So a lot of things that function when we're not in that heightened state of fight or flight, they stop working. Why is that? So I just got done eating a hamburger and I've been attacked by a bear. What is my body concerned about? That hamburger that I'm digesting or the bear that's attacking me? My body's smart, right? It's going to take care of the big problem first, and then if I survive the bear attack, it'll say, okay, maybe we'll take care of the hamburger now, okay? Fear and anxiety. Immune response goes down. Why is that? It seems a little counterproductive, right? Why would your immune system go down if I'm being attacked by a bear? So say I'm sick, I'm fighting a cold virus. I'm doing sick and I'm fighting a cold virus. You think my body thinks that cold virus is a bigger threat, or that bear that's trying to kill me is a bigger threat?
The bear.
If I can survive the bear attack, we'll fight the cold another day. It's going to down-regulate the immune system because it's taking care of the bear. We have our insulin sensitivity spikes because it wants to be able to take in that blood to use as energy. So that increases your blood levels, or your blood sugar levels. Your cholesterol goes up, your clotting factors go up, your sex drive goes down. All these things are preparing me for that fight with that animal that's going to be cutting me, damaging me, and preparing me for trying to survive that encounter. Now let's take the bear out of the equation. Now the bear is my student loan debt. Now the bear is the person who crashed into my car in the parking lot at Harding's. Now the bear is the PowerPoint presentation that I got to do. Now the bear is I have a really sick loved one that I need to help take care of. We all have so many sources of stress in our life today. We're all, or not all, a lot of us are burning the candle at both ends. We're overtaxing our bodies. And we need to find ways to try to restore that balance. So, the sources of stress, we talked about them earlier. Thoughts, your traumas, and your toxins. Okay, the thoughts, the mental stresses, that's the triple whammy. The toxins, the things we put into our body, the foods we eat, things we're exposed to in the environments, things like that. The traumas, so there's micro traumas, there's macro traumas. Macro traumas are the big ones. That's like I slipped and I fell down the stairs. There's a before, there's an after, okay? These are the insidious ones, the micro traumas. I'm sitting on my cell phone 7 hours a day. I see the kids walking down the road these days. This. What am I seeing in kids' x-rays these days? In their necks?
Curvature.
The curve that should be a nice backward shaped C curve is turning into a forward shaped C curve. What am I seeing in these kids? What kind of problems?
Everything. Concentration.
Migraine headaches, ADHD, concentration issues, behavioral issues, fits of rage, pain, lots and lots of problems. Problems that we used to think were adult problems, we're seeing more and more and more in our children. It's not acceptable. We're not a healthy society. We're doing a lot of things completely backwards, and we need to start making some changes. That's what these workshops are about. Just find your suit of armor, hex everything in there. But sometimes things go wrong with it. Subluxation. What's a subluxation? We all say it, subluxation. I want us to get familiar with this word. Subluxation. What is it?
Irritated nerve.
It's part of it. It's all of this. So that's a big part of it, that irritated nerve. So we get the joint misaligned. That causes soft tissue damage. That disc is damaged. We get a bulge, we get some inflammation, we get some herniation, that kind of a thing. Now there's inflammation. That inflammation irritates that nerve. Now the nerve is irritated. There's lack of motion in that disc. So it's going to start drying out and falling apart. What does the brain do when we get an irritated joint? What's its first line of defense? If Phyllis was about to punch me in the stomach right now and I saw it coming, what am I going to do? Flex my gut, right? Same thing with my paraspinal muscles. I know you're probably just knocked me right to the ground. Oh shit. But yeah, it's going to flex up those muscles. So now I got that bone, it's out of alignment, it's irritated, it's swollen, it's ticked off. And now the muscles are clamping down around it and it's stuck out of place. Now we have elevated stress hormones. Now my bear is a subluxation problem. Does this make sense? You can nod if you're with me? Yeah. Subluxation causes nerve irritation. That interferes with your body's innate ability to heal and function right. Who here believes that you're designed to be healthy? If I cut myself, it's going to heal, right? I don't got to think about that at all, because my body's smart. That's an amazing gift. We all have it. But one of the things we take for granted most is our own health. I had this conversation with somebody the other day. They're a horse owner. We were talking about they get chiropractic care for their animals and stuff like that, which is great. Because I think we should get chiropractic care for animals too. But they spend more on their horse than they do on themselves. Why is that?
Because they like their horse better.
That could be. I probably spend more on my cat's health care than my own health care, but yeah, that's one of it. But also that horse was an investment, right? How much does a horse cost?
A lot.
Yeah, really, I don't know. I've never had a horse, but I know they're not cheap. So if I just drop $10,000 on a horse, do you think I want to protect that investment that I just made? Yeah. What did I get for free? This body. Just got it. Just one day it came out of the hole and I'm here. That's it. It was free.
Not to your parents.
Not to my parents, no. But I'm young and ignorant, right? So we take it for granted because we didn't have to invest in it. We don't necessarily look at it until when?
Till we're sick.
Until we lose it, right? And then what will we do to get it back?
Anything.
Anything and everything. We're trying not to get to that point that we have to do anything and anything to get it back. We're trying to get to that point we don't lose it in the first place, okay? That's what these are about. We're thinking healthy. We're doing healthy. We're not doing sick anymore. How do you know if you have subluxation? What do you think the most common answer I get to that is?
I've written it down.
That's not the most common answer. That's the answer I wish I got for it. That's good. You're giving me
Pain.
pain. I'll feel it, right?
Yeah.
That bone cellular alignment, that was pretty nasty right there. That thing right there, that's horrible. I'll feel that, right? How much of your nervous system is responsible for pain?
9%.
6 to 8%. Yep. There we go. Less than 10%. So it's not irritating that little tiny part that tells me it hurts. How do I know it's there? See your chiropractor, right?
Yes, you're correct.
That's how we know. We look for these things. We look for these things. We do very thorough evaluations. These fingers have been trained for years and years, so when I'm running them down your spine, I can feel them. But it's not good enough for me just to feel it. Even though I trust my fingers and I know it's there and I know I can get in there and start working on trying to correct it, we do our posture analysis. Remember when we look in the mirrors and we see, oh, your shoulder's high on this side, that hip's high on this side, you should see that level. Remember that stuff? Yeah. X-rays. Took pictures, right? Because we want to see what's going on there. I trust my fingers. I've adjusted people who have taken X-rays on them before. And I did it and I wasn't even worried about hurting them. But I still prefer to see the X-rays. Because what if there's something in there that I can't feel? What if there's something in there that I didn't expect? And I start working on somebody, and I ignored something that I would have seen if I had seen the picture. We want to make sure we're being thorough. We want to make sure we're doing the best thing for everybody. That's why we cover all the angles. We also do the instrumentation, the scans that everybody loves getting. Why do we do those? What do they measure? The EMG, the muscle scan, what does that measure? Activity in muscles, right? Those aren't the nerves that tell you your brain hurts. I can get that from you guys. You can tell me you hurt. What does the thermal scan measure? Nerves that control organs, glands, blood vessels. My heart's beating. My lungs are breathing. That's what that scan reads. But those nerves don't tell me I hurt. Heart rate variability tells me how well my nervous system's adapting to stress. We do these measures because it's another way of us to gauge what kind of progress we're making and what kind of results we're having. So, we got to get adjusted for recovery. When we're doing sick, that's the most important time to get adjusted. I'm pretty sure most of you have heard this at some point. Who here has been sick and called and said, hey, I'm sick today, I'm not coming in? What do we say? That's the most important time to come in. Let's sneak you in the back door to room 5. We'll get you in, we'll get you out. You don't have to deal with anybody. We'll clean the table afterwards so you don't spread your germs.
Do you?
We want to get you adjusted. I get adjusted when I'm sick. I get adjusted more when I'm sick. I get adjusted more when I'm flared up. Because I need to get my body back in order.
One of my adjustments was when I was sick. I didn't come in. I didn't want to spread germs.
Yeah, no, and that's a common thing. And we appreciate that you're thinking of everybody else, you're trying to protect everybody else, but we want to take care of you. We can mitigate the germ thing. We can kill the germs. We can run a sandy napkin thingy, whatever those things are called, those wipes, kill some germs. But the funny thing is, everybody that's in this office is getting adjusted. What does that help? Your immune system. So if everybody's adjusted, everybody's immune system is working better, are we really concerned about a little bacteria on the table? A little virus on the table or something like that? No, because a virus, a bacteria, all these invaders, they're nothing for your immune system to take care of if it's working like it's supposed to and it's healthy. It's when it's compromised, when it's broken down. Who's ever dealt with a really stressful situation? You man should not do sick until after you got done. Until after I got that moment I can breathe. Why? Why did that happen? You finally got to that point of, oh, I can let it go. And then the body is susceptible, and it breaks down, and then we get hit. So extra adjustments when you're sick, okay? Break the bad habits, take those extra adjustments. When you're already doing sick, you need to rest. Sleep as much as possible. Get your extra adjustments. Avoid the stressful situations. Get rid of the sugars, okay? And things like bone broth. Easy, nutrients dense, something that's easy to digest. So bone broth is a really good source of nutrients, okay? Supplements. Give yourself time and take action. Do the things that you need to do to express health, like we're talking about today. How do you know if you have a subluxation? Until you don't feel it. You get checked, right? You come here, you get checked. That's all you got to do. Don't put it off. Who here has been to the Better Results Faster workshop? We talked about the 3 greatest threats to our health today. Does anybody remember what they are at all?
Gotta be like.
Definition of health. Remember that one? What's it mean to be healthy? What's the most common definition I get? Look good, feel good. So I'm healthy, right? Look good, I feel good. Nothing wrong. Let's feel like they have diabetes. Early stage cancer. Or even late stage cancer. Who's ever known somebody that boom, seems fine, boom, stage 4 cancer? We all know somebody like that, right? Were they fine up till they were diagnosed with stage 4 cancer? No, they had a big problem, right? What's the first sign of heart disease typically? A lot of times it's a heart attack that kills a person, more often than not. So we can feel okay and have something really important, really wrong going on. So being sick or being healthy is more than just feeling good. It's the absence of physical, mental, and social well-being, or the presence of physical, mental, and social well-being, not just the absence of disease or infirmity. Okay? The other is procrastination. Who's ever said that? 5 most dangerous words when it comes to your health.
I'll do it later.
I'll do it later.
Maybe.
Maybe it'll go away. That's what I'm looking for. That's another one. I'll do it later. I'll get to it later. Maybe it'll go away. Maybe it'll go away. Maybe it'll come back. Maybe it'll go away again, right? And then it comes back again. It's the same every time it comes back, right? No? How many times have you ever think I've met that person? They've seen a chiropractor a few times throughout their lives. It was my hip. Back when I was 18 years old, this man's 80-some years old. It was my hip. I got adjusted twice by that chiropractor back, Doc Bobby, back in 92. He's a great guy. And I didn't have to see a chiropractor for 35 years. And then my hip popped out again on me. And I went and got adjusted 4 times. That guy wasn't as good, but he got it back in. And now he's back. He's 80 years old. It hasn't been 30 years. I can't get it fixed in 2-3 adjustments. Is it the same problem it was when he was 18?
No.
Is it the same problem it was when he was at 30, 40? No, it's gotten so much worse. And 1 or 2 adjustments isn't going to give him that relief anymore. We never fixed it way back when. Now we're going to try to catch up on it. And a lot of times when we let it go for that long, we start getting things like arthritis, degeneration, and things that we can't adjust out of you. So we're doing our best to manage with what we got left in there. So you got to get checked. And you should do it today. You should do it now. What's that? I think it's a Japanese or Asian proverb. Best time to plant a tree? Anybody heard that one? When's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago.
Yeah.
When's the second best time to plant a tree?
Today.
Right now. That's what this is about, okay? I do a lot of these workshops. We want to get you guys checked, your loved ones checked, okay? I know most everybody here, I think we only have 1 guest today, and I'm glad you're here. That means someone cares about you and invited you to come, okay? Or they just wanted you to get some free chocolate. But we want to check you. We want to make sure you're taken care of, okay? And we're willing to do anything we can to help you get there. So I get a lot of objections. I get a lot of excuses, really, for like, oh, I don't really have time. But we always make time if they're in a crisis, right? We've got to. Or I hear if you go to a chiropractor, you got to go forever. You don't really got to do anything forever, do you? I don't got to work out, do I? I don't got to eat right, do I? But if I want to be healthy, what do I got to do? Work out and exercise, get adjusted. All these things that I should be doing to keep myself healthy. I don't got to do it. I can choose not to do that. That's a choice I can make. But I want to be healthy. So I'm going to make the choice to keep putting things in my healthy account. Okay? It's too expensive. That's one I get a lot too. I want to take care of that one for you. If you guys have anybody you want to get checked, or if you want to get checked back there, we'll give you everything. The entire day 1, consultation. We'll sit down, knee to knee, we'll talk about it. Or if any of you have any loved ones you want to get checked. Examination. We'll sit down, we'll feel along your spine, we'll figure out where the problems are, we'll do the x-rays, we'll do the scans, everything. We'll go over the results together, whether we find something or not, we know. Normally that's $290 because we do a lot of things to figure out what your problems are and what the solutions are. It takes me a lot of time, every new patient that I got to process. I'm going to do it for 20 bucks. This is the only time we offer it for that cheap, okay? 20 bucks. If you guys want to sign somebody up, 20 bucks. The only catch is let's do it today. Because the success is reserved for the people who take action, okay? If you guys wake up tomorrow and you're like, you know, maybe I should have taken advantage of that offer and I should have bought my brother a gift certificate, or my sister, or my cousin, or whomever you're thinking of, the people you care about. Because I know you're all thinking of somebody right now. Tomorrow it's $290 again, okay? Today is the only day it's 20 bucks. If you want to buy a pass for the whole family, it's 35 bucks, okay? Anybody in your immediate family. Husbands, wives, children, that kind of thing. We do it because we care. We do it because we're here to change lives and make people healthier. We don't make any money when we do a day one for exams. And one thing, an x-ray film, that costs more than 20 bucks. It's not about making money. It's about checking people. It's about changing lives. That's what these workshops are here. That's why I'm so grateful that this room is as full as it is. Because it means that this message is spreading. And I see a lot of you, and I know a lot of you have brought guests. I know a lot of you were guests at previous workshops, and that's why you're here now today. And you're getting your spine taken care of. And that's a great thing. Because it's an act of love to send us the people you care about. We'll check them. If there's something going on, we'll let them know. If we can help them, we'll let them know that too. And we'll help them. As long as they're on board with getting the help. If there's nothing going on, we'll let them know that too. If we can't help them, we'll let them know that too. But we'll check them.